I think on this side. Let's see. I think I glitched again. 1 second. This. But yeah, with being Jupiter ruled, it definitely helps because you have luck on your side. My husband is a Sagittarius rising, and he definitely helps me, which is nice because as a Pisces, Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, whereas the modern ruler is Neptune. So it reminds me of my old school Jupiter energy. And it's okay for you to feel hopeful even when other people don't feel as hopeful. That's normal. Let me see if it's switched out. Content. Tupac and Siddharth, let me know if you guys are in this live now too. I don't know if that was my fault or it was just our usual glitching that happens. Hi people. Yes, this is a new live. Okay. I think that may have been my fault. I think I may have hit the end button. I think it's honestly because like I'm not as filtered about what I talk about online sometimes, and because of the family that we were just talking about, you will notice in the US that if you talk about certain things, you're live mysteriously. Hi Nini. Yeah, this is so funny. I actually got this at a vintage store that is close to my house. I saw it on their Instagram because they do like a What's New Wednesday or whatever, and I had seen it and I was like, oh my gosh, $15, like I need this. It reminds me of like my old soccer days when I was also eating apple slices on a Saturday afternoon at soccer practice in middle school. Thank you. My usual green. Yeah, I mean, annoying that it's crashing, but at least like there's a solution to it. Like I'm just glad that I'm able to restart it again. I'm thinking that it may be Siddharth. It's just like sus that it happens like that. Yeah. Oh, nice people. I love that. So thank you so much. I know it was like meant to be. Yeah, I played soccer for, oh gosh. I mean, I played when I was like little, which is so funny because our team was the Galaxy Stars, which is so fitting for like what I do for work now. All those like little like nods from the universe of like, hey, you're on the right track. And then I was also the Stars, I forget the first name, but the Stars in middle school when I played again. And it was so funny because they could not find like a soccer coach for our rec league. Veronica, can you guess? They could not understand like why no one was signing up, and so my dad ended up being the rec coach, which he was like always very active. My dad was like very what's the word, like highly decorated or got a lot of awards for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and won first place a lot and all those things. Yes, very good. I'm a Pisces. How about for you? I get a lot of Libras though. It's my aesthetic. It's also because I work from home and I have a Venus ruled 4th house. Yes, Tupac, let me know if you have any questions about your astrology. Yeah, oh wow, Siddharth, that's crazy. Yeah. So, oh, interesting. What would you say about my Scorpio ascendant energy and my Pluto in Scorpio in the 1st house? That it can be painful, but you're like a masochist for it, meaning that whenever you have Pluto in the 1st house, you're meant to be a disruptor. I relate to this a lot, and it's why you and I have a lot of similarities because in our energy, even without really knowing each other, because my Pluto sits in the 10th house. So it's in those are both like what's called angular houses or very visible aspects of our astrology. Let me also make sure I do have my books open for any of you guys that want to book a reading with me. I'll only be on for like an hour or so, maybe a little bit more depending on if a couple people from Patreon are booking their readings today. $15, 10 minutes, you get an emailed recording of your reading with me. Let me bring that up. I have a notification location. Let me sure I'm not yapping over anyone's reading. This may have just been a booking for, hi MJ, how are you? Just taking a second to load. But whenever you have Pluto in an angular house, more so the ones that sit above your horizon, your first, your 7th, and then say like your 10th, you're looking at how people perceive you externally, but also when Pluto is there, you're meant to shine a light or bring more truth to a certain area. Well, Chiron and Lilith both in Scorpio in the first. What is you have a Libra Mars, right? Which would place your Libra Mars, because you're looking at a Placidus chart, not a whole sign. In your 12th house, but you have a wider overlap. Depends on the degree of your ascendant. I know, it does feel like it's been forever. I was actually going to ask you guys in Patreon if you wanted me to also maybe start to go live on Tuesday nights as well, because I know as the weather gets nicer, we want to be outside. Like maybe Saturday afternoons are a little bit difficult for you guys to be able to book your complimentary readings once a month. Hi Rumi, how are you? Yeah, and I can't even see them, Siddharth, to like uncover them. But I'm like, that's what makes like Tupac and I, anyone who has a lot of Scorpio like me, like very discerning. Like I'm always like, I'm kind, Pisces, open, energetic, but I'm also like, I have that kind of like, okay, but what's really going on here? I know you're not, like, what do you really want from me? Yeah, okay, MJ, sounds good. I'll make a note to make a poll today about that. But where Pluto is aspected is where you're meant to reveal the truth. So this is what has been such a challenge for me in my job. Like, you know, obviously I'm self-employed, but in jobs prior, I should say, is that when I see something, I have to say something. Hi, Deanna, how are you? So, let me Patreon poll for Tuesday nights. Thank you, King. So, yeah, wherever Pluto is where you're meant to reveal the truth. So I have a couple people that I know that have like a Pluto in the 4th house, which is like revealing truths about your family and your roots and like generational curse breaker. Oh, I understand. Mars is ascendant lord in 2 degrees Libra in the 12th house. Okay. Yeah, I also look at, hi, Fixed Heart. Hi, Mike. I also look at I would also look at where Pluto is too, because I do believe Pluto is a planet. Yeah, I love them. This is from my like personal website. I had a web designer that put my chart together for me in my brand colors, which she did a beautiful job. She's a projector, of course. Hi, Sunil. How are you? It's nice to see you. But yeah, looking at where Pluto is to see like where you're a curse breaker. Mine is in the 10th house. So I will say that like having a 10th house ruled by Scorpio, I am very much of the varietal of like revenge is a dish best served cold. I like being a Scorpio moon, my moon in the 10th house is the ascendant. A lot of people see me like the tough love mom because it's conjunct my Pluto. So it's like through my emotional experiences with people comes truth, comes transformation. But I'm an Aquarius rising, right? So like I don't like to have to go there with people if I don't have to. Which and we're looking at the whole sign, every Aquarius rising is gonna have that 10th house Scorpio energy. And you know, there's a lot of that different overlap there, but I will say that it's been that kind of balance of like sharing my emotions, but sharing in the right time. And you know, when I have like gotten a grasp on how to articulate my emotions, I'm a sacral authority in human design, which means that I don't have a direct plug, or defined solar plexus. So it's like I'm taking all these like emotions and feelings at one time, and then it's like they have to go through like this sieve or this buffer for me to understand like, okay, how do I converse this in a way that like my other humans can understand? The people that I care about that I have to articulate and like let me just, you know, I had somebody the other day that was upset that I didn't go in and give them an emotional reaction, and that happens a lot because being an Aquarius rising with an Aquarius Mercury, I'm also, you know, depending on the situation, it's like I only have so many spoons, and you know, having a Scorpio moon, if you guys know the lore of Scorpio moons, you feel that where there has to be a level of like, I am very emotional, but only certain people get access to those emotions when they have a certain level of access to me personally. I wasn't always that way, right? I was very dramatic, like, and I still can be, but like more so in jest, but like I was very dramatic in my personal life, in my professional life. I remember one of my old bosses, when I worked for a more like corporate job, was like, don't take this the wrong way, but you kind of have an attitude. And it was one of the first places that I noticed where people noticed that about me, and I was like, okay, let me like do some self-reflection and say like, is this a problem, or is this part of like the path that I meant to take? And it was a little bit of both, in my early 20s when I didn't really have people that taught me emotional regulation, and I was just like very new to human design and astrology and figuring my shit out. And then I realized that a lot of my energy in places is exposure and expose, and how do I see things and expose them in a way that is with loving kindness also, because there's a lot of things that I will see in somebody's chart when I'm reading for them, but if I'm reading for them publicly, like on a TikTok live, yes, Deanna, I was thinking that, it's so funny, I just said it without even realizing, but I'm not going to talk about people's trauma, or be explicit, like very like really going there as an intuitive person, especially. Sometimes I get like visions, or like I'll get like pictures in my mind's eye, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, I'm not really gonna go there. But this is a skill that like I can see all those things, and it's like having, I was saying, especially as projectors, it's almost like X-ray vision, and you immediately go in, and I'm in this room with all of you guys. I have 10 of you total across 2 platforms, and I'll look back in a second at the comments, but just to finish my thought about this, it's like I go in and I have like this X-ray vision where I'm feeling all of you, and it's like why I have a connection with so many people through the screen, which I think a lot of projectors or very intuitive people, empaths, can relate to in a lot of ways, like, and so it takes a special kind of training to go into the like X-ray machine and then still remember that you're an individual, like, because that's a raven. You go and you see into the future, and you come back into the current moment, and then are just meant to be like a normal person, not like, a time and a place to share everything. So I don't know if that made sense. Hopefully it did, but it's the best way that I could articulate it in this moment. Hi, Ferrari. Yeah, 2 o'clock, I understand, absolutely. And my moon sits in your first house, so it's like illuminating my ability to really understand you, so it's interesting. Oh, is it really? Insane. Maybe because it's the music? It's gonna be like the connection too, I think. I don't know. This platform always gives me a little bit of trouble on my left-hand side here. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, but going back to Pluto, having Pluto in my 10th, which is, it makes sense, Sienna, like an as above, so below. There's and now would be the time to make it. I've said this for so long. There's a quote that I'm paraphrasing from the first Devil Wears Prada movie, and Nigel, who's played by Stanley Tucci, says to Andy, who's played by Anne Hathaway, like, if you're doing well at work, or let me know when your personal life hi Ellington, let me know when your personal life goes up in smoke, that's when you need a promotion. And I think about that a lot, because our 10th house, which is like our fame, our reputation, like how we're seen in our external world, is directly opposite our 4th house, which is our roots, our home, and our family. So as somebody who has a lot in my 10th house, but only my south node in my 4th house, it's like I was always meant to leave the nest and always be, a little bit of the odd one out, which is how we see, my fellow Aquarius risings, you guys understand. But yeah, it's kind of that, like, as above, so below, as within, so without. We look at that kind of distinction. But, when you have Pluto in a visible house, like going back to really answering your question more directly, Tupac, in the first house, it's like you just being present is going to shake things up for people. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix my voice because I can't, there's nothing that's telling me that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just going to close my window because it's a little chilly. Now you want to come back over when I closed it? Hello, Orion Gabe. How are you? Yes, Tupac, I agree. A lot of my close friends actually are Scorpio risings, like yourself. I always smile when I read your name. There you go. Real me, let me know if you're still here and I'll talk about Aquarius placements. I'll live mindfully. There you go. Wow. Yes, Pluto conjunct your south node in your 10th house. Wow. Okay, so we're flip-flop. So I'm because I'm like a regular millennial, that tells me that you're a little bit older than me, like later in your 30s if I had to guess, maybe early 40s, because mine is flip-flopped. So I'm a Scorpio north node where you're a Taurus south node, but you're reversed. So it's interesting. It's almost like if I could live mindfully, like almost personify you in a meme or in, because the nodes are, and happy birthday, the nodes are generational planets. So it's like, I forget how often they change, but I don't know, maybe every however often, but, or flip-flop like that. But all that to say, with our Aquarian detachment, right, we're always meant to have a degree of separation because we're not meant to mesh with the people around us. So even with my family, I'm like, yes, it's very black sheep and we can use that stereotype, but for me it was more so, again, if I were have to give a picture or a meme to your energy, it would be like lighting the match, throwing it behind you, letting it burn in the place that you were hired to be, and then moving forward, not with like a shit-eating grin on your face, so to speak, but more so with like a calm, cool collectedness, like this is what I'm supposed to do. How do I move forward to the next thing? That inevitably I kind of go into almost every job that I had before I was self-employed. I began to start to see the pattern recognition and understanding that I was never going to be there forever. Like I knew very early on and track that pattern, Scorpio fashion, that I wasn't going to, there was something that would happen that I would call out, and if nothing was being done about it to make it better, I would have to leave. Because like I cannot see something like an injustice or an untruths or like a lot of catty, whatever the energy was, depending on what the job was. And, I picked up what I had to in terms of lore or skills and then just applied it to the next thing. And every single thing, especially if you're a manifesting generator or a generator, every single thing that you do over the course of your lifetime, right? Exactly. Over the course of your lifetime adds into what you're doing now. So like no experience is ever lost on us. You understand? Yes. Okay, perfect. So like no experience is ever lost on us. Like I can't, let me think of like, well, when I worked in corporate insurance, I worked with mostly men. And because of that, I didn't really take my job so seriously. Like in a good way, I didn't take my job too seriously. Meaning that what I liked about it as an Aquarius Mercury was that I could have an argument with somebody and I knew that I would go into the same room 10 minutes later and it would be fine. Like it would be the conflict resolution, the like high energy, this is intense, like the cycle time was very quick. Whereas when I worked in more of, unfortunately, a female-dominated space, for my experience personally, it would become this long, drawn-out thing. And I just had that happen the other day, actually, at a place that I'm volunteering. My Patreon people got the picture of the baby squirrels. Once a week, I volunteer to feed the, neonatal, newborn baby squirrels and raccoons and baby bunnies and things like that. But right now, I'm just on squirrel duty. But all that to say, there was a woman that had been there this is my first time, mind you, a couple weeks back, that I had been there. And this always happens because I just reposted a video, and this is the moon in the 10th house. Also, your moon, too, about being very visible at the top in the 9th house. it's like the meme or the TikTok I posted was basically saying like how my conversations sound because like I make strangers feel seen, but it always ends up in a workplace or where there's a dynamic where it's close quarters and you can't, you know, like in this volunteering center, you know, there's only a finite room space. But one of the women that is works for the nonprofit for like grant writing had come into the room like only temporarily because she was going to her office to do grant writing. And there was a woman who I was volunteering with that had like a squirrel shirt on, like squirrels are her thing. She's been feeding squirrels for a very long period of time. And the lady that's the grant writer says to her like, oh no, you're not supposed to hold the squirrels like that. Like, you know, you're feeding them wrong. And the woman that's a volunteer coordinator was also there and was like, I think she knows how to like feed these squirrels. And it's like, it's just a micro example of, I know that you felt like this or have seen this. Hi, Leticia, how are you? Oh, that's so funny. I guess this is the color of the day. I almost wore my brown sweater, but I guess this is what I'm supposed to be wearing today. But, you know, it was in that moment. And now for the other, this is like hour 1 into my shift. And basically for the next 3 hours, this woman was like, oh my God, how could she say that? And I don't know why she felt comfortable saying that to me. And I was like, oh my God, I do not fucking miss this about like working in an office job. Like, I'm so glad I've been self-employed for the last 5 years. But I just turned to her and like, time was how I used to feel, you know, when you were used to having that motherly energy, you know, moon in the 10th house, like very like making strangers feel seen, is I would feel like I had to go into, you know, because I saw the whole situation, I get it, but I also know that the grant writing lady is just, you could tell in the 3 seconds that she walked in the door, she's just somebody that always has to correct somebody saying anything. And so I just turned to the woman who was like really upset about it, and I was like, I just shook my head like, I understand, and the only thing I said was, I'm so glad I'm new. Like, I don't care, you know. But at the end of the day, the reason I chose volunteering at a wildlife, you know, preservation to help feed the baby squirrels is because I'm there for the animals. I'm not there for the people. So, you know, it was nice in those experiences where because I'm self-employed and I'm home a lot, I think it's very important for people to understand that when you get into this work and you're home a lot, to not totally so much so self-isolate. And I've been guilty of doing that for certain periods of time and not keeping my finger on the pulse of what's happening in the real world. Now, I educate myself, you know, enough, but it's different to do it online versus when you're actually in person with real people and feeling the energy, and as a sacral defined person, like being in the universe, so to speak, in the real world. Then exactly. I also have, I don't know if you have the 4426 channel or any of the channels that define the ego, but that when we have that center defined too, it's better. I'm also a caves environment, so I want to be comfortable. You know, I want to have my back in what I call the Tony Soprano seat. I want to see who's coming in, you know, at all entrances and know, you know, where I am. But yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, it's good to just kind of sense, like, because as a Pisces with my placements in this work, I really want to always be aware of like, and during Aries season, how fucking fast time is switching anyway, especially as Uranus is about to enter Gemini. Forget it. We're going to be like, what is up? What's happening? But it allows me to still like be realistic about, and I always say this like to anyone. I have somebody who just booked another mentorship session with me. Like, one of the first things that I always say is, it's not just about what you want to create. I know, Liv, I already know our placements because our houses are set up the same way. But like, I relate to my fellow Aquarius risings. It's like, and I love it because it's kind of like we're almost like the two people that like will sit next to each other on a flight and have like these long conversations about everything, and then like not exchange numbers or social media and be like, okay, like maybe we'll see each other again. Like, would love to, but like if we don't, it's like, I don't know, I just feel that about my fellow Aquarius risings. It's just so funny to see. It depends on where we find each other along our path. But it's not, when you're doing this work as somebody who wants to be a practitioner or creating something, it's really important to not just over fantasize or over manifest about what it is that you want to get paid for, but also what it is that people actually are willing to pay you for. And now, especially with, you know, the current state of the world, I could say a lot of things about that. and where we have, you know, Neptune and Saturn, where they've both been in Aries now, but also in Pisces. It's a lot of like, I could give you the homework and I could make my whole business on the practice of just write these things down 3, 6, 9 times in this journal, and, you know, do this one ritual. And but for most people, like, and especially generators and manifesting generators, we need more like Oonga Boonga somatic experiences of like understanding how to match that with our actual reality or do real things in real time. So I'm always very serious about taking spiritual work seriously and not being immune exactly to like literally the economy. I had somebody that was begging me on YouTube live yesterday that lives in India and works in warehouse logistics, like, make videos about how to, you know, get employed. I know, I realized this was my Squid Games jacket. Yes, I survived. I was number 1. But you know, begging me, you know, how can I come to the US and how can I get, you know, a job there? And I'm like, you know how many people I know that are US citizens, bilingual US citizens, and they can't get jobs? You know, like, this is not the time. Like, I know a lot of what it looks like, but it's like there's a lot I could say about it, but, you know, blooming where you're planted is the phrase that keeps coming back to me over and over again, and figuring out how to make the best of your circumstances. And I say that because if we all have phones and internet and we're able to sit, and the 18 of us that are here, 19 of us between these platforms are able to sit and chat with each other, like, we're probably not in the worst place in the world right now. You know, mentally, maybe some people are in some rough spots, but like, you know, we have access to the internet and a cell phone and a smartphone to be able to watch each other. So, you know, use that with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's kind of wild. Hi, Hazara, how are you? Best meditation and manifesting is being who you are without being affected and influenced by outer worlds. Yes, what do you think, Brenna? Best meditation and manifesting is being who you are without being affected or influenced by the outer worlds. Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I mean, I'm always going to see like the nuance and things like that. I think that that's an amazing place to start when I've had a couple experiences that have really shown me like how far I've come out of my people pleasing over the last 10 years, and really being able to identify when people in my outer world try to project, or when I'm not giving them the people pleasing. Like, I have the luxury of having my own business. Hi, Susel. So like, if I don't want to work with somebody, I don't have to customer service them into giving them what they want. You know, if somebody, like, I had somebody who was trying to, I said the other day, like, make me apologize for something that they did wrong because they couldn't take the accountability. And I was like, if you know me enough now to know that, like, this whole work that we do it was a mentorship thing, is about accountability. So, like, if you're looking for somebody to be like, it's okay, I understand, like, just to keep you for another couple $1,000s, like, you find somebody else. Like, I chose to be self-employed so I don't have to deal with people like that, not, you know, so that I do. So, for me, it's like I could get myself really upset and sit and work myself up into a lather about that, but I'm like, oh wow, I'm more so like, what a blessing it is to like see that and not have some fuck ass manager tell me like, no, you better tell them, like, we'll give them free whatever, you know, free whatever, so that it keeps them coming back. And I'm like, well, this is so great, I don't have to have you around me ever again, get out, you know, like, I'm good. The block button is my best friend for that reason. So yeah, exactly. And listen, Susel, you know, it happens so often. And people, the thing is, like, it's such a deeply embedded coping skill that they don't even realize that they're doing it. Like, it's like and the biggest thing I could say, and really, really, really having to be like on your discernment game with this, thank you, Marlon, is to understand, like, there are a lot of people who come into spiritual spaces and try to use spiritual work to bypass therapy. And you have to be incredibly discerning of who those people are. And also understanding that there are a lot of people who use this work to say, I'm just a, you know, Gemini Mercury, that's why I can be an asshole, or like whatever. Like, you're just a joke. And it's like, no, like, you're actually just an asshole, you know? So it's like understanding, like, if you want to be one of those people that gets a really big following because you excuse people's behavior, based on their astrology. Just depends on what are you in it for, and like whatever success means to you. I'm not one of those people. So as we can tell, those who know me for a long time. But yeah, what were you going to say? Yeah, because when you're distracted by outer world and wasting energy outside, you can't utilize it for work for your betterment. That is true. It's like pick and choose your battles. Like what's worth it to pay attention to? Where is it worth it to place your energy? Who is it worth it? And you don't need as many people, or like for a business perspective, you don't need as many clients as you think that you do to make a living, and to make a good living at that. You always project in others what they do, and it's so toxic. I know, it's so true. And it's like I then leave them behind, right? Like I would rather my circle be small and move forward with my smaller circle, like, because that is so much more life-giving than having a lot of people. Like, how many people do we know that have bridal showers or parties? They have all, 10 people on both sides, and they don't even actually like each other. It's like we see a lot of that. Yeah, Nini, still learning to stop showing my spiritual hand when others are around. Spiritual hand when around imposters. It's true. And I think, there's always going to be people. I get people on my TikTok all the time that are like other spiritual practitioners that go in and they'll save my content. Hi, Jimmy, welcome. I've seen my reheated nachos, so to speak, in a lot of places online. And it's funny because people don't even realize, like, if you have like certain things like Easter eggs, like you'll put in your videos, and there's people who won't give you the satisfaction of, following you or letting you know that they're inspired by you. You'll just start to hear your vocal tics out there. And I'm like, wow, what's kind of crazy is that we would have gotten a lot farther had you asked to collaborate with me and given credit where credit's due. But now it's like when somebody reheats the nachos, it's like never tastes good the second time, so it I don't know if that's essentially what you're referring to. I'm just thinking of you, Nini, because you're a content creator as well. But it's bound to happen. Like, it's especially with your placements too. Like, people are always going to be admiring your skill set. And I know Deanna, I don't know if you're still here, but I know that that's also happened to you. My Leo risings as well. A lot of Cancer risings too. Gabe, as you know, my luminaries. But yeah, it's just like, think about when a celebrity posts something, right? And you see, like, say, like Hailey Bieber posts something, and then, all of a sudden the jacket that she's wearing, 80,000 have sold, and the company is sold out for this like obscure thing. It's like, you have to know. And that was something that like pisses me off too, but it's like, it's part of it. And I think of it in relation to fame. And when I worked in talent management too, oh, nice, projector for an Aquarius, happy belated birthday. I'm like, well, where am I right now? Let me come back down to earth. Aquarius rising 4-1. There you go. That's so cool. You're so many all the rares basically in one row. But if you want to be seen, it does come at the cost of people trying to rip you off, steal your intellectual property, whatever it is, and listen, I will tell you, as somebody who's been on this app like consistently for like 3 years now, that yeah, they may get away with a couple videos about it, but at the end of the day, if it didn't come from their mind, it's impossible for people to keep up with the consistency of doing something that's yours. Like, it's like, anyone can buy the jacket, but not everybody looks like Hailey Bieber. So it's like, we see that a lot in makeup too. I was talking about this with my makeup artist for my wedding last year, and saying to her, I was like, trust me, I'm aware that like I love this makeup, but I don't have her face, right? So it's like my eyes are a little bit more deep set, my eyebrows are a little bit thicker. So if I go to my makeup artist and I pick, a girl with like beautiful, let's say like a square jaw, or like, really thin eyebrows, like I'm not gonna look like that, right? But there's a lot of people who don't have the mind-body connection, somatic literal awareness to discern that. So, there, especially when it comes to weddings, oh my God, I feel like any makeup artist for weddings or photographer, they get it the worst. So yeah, there's a lot I could say about it, but it's yeah, I'm happy to share, Nini. And I think as a projector too, Jimmy, and for a lot of you that are projectors, you'll understand that like it's a lot of a lot of what I say for projectors is don't be bitter, be better. And understanding that like whenever you feel that like, ooh, like there's someone else that's getting credit for my work or something, keep doing it again. I always say this, and I always think that it's the best case scenario. Especially now, no matter your energy type, especially for projectors though, or some of my rarer birds, like a lot of Aquarius placements, is that life is about implied elegance. I want you to think of the distinction, right? Unless you're like really kitschy and campy and like that's your brand, like that's a little bit of an outlier. But I use the description of like decorating for Christmas as an example. So let's say, you know, when you go to the store to get Christmas decorations and everything you get has Merry Christmas embroidered on it. There's a Merry Christmas banner and your wreath says Merry Christmas and all your ornaments say Merry Christmas and the pillows and the blankets say Merry Christmas. You're like, that's a lot, right? Like that's like, okay, I get it. It's Christmas. Like I get it. Like, okay, like this is a lot. Whereas like if you go to another, you know, go to the same store and you get like the red and green plaid and you have a beautiful, you know, evergreen wreath on your front door and you have sparkly, you know, lights on your Christmas tree. We know it's Christmas. We feel the atmosphere of Christmas, and the atmosphere of it versus having the words embroidered on everything is exactly that distinction. And what I explain is like, so much sexier, seductive, more attractive from a marketing perspective for people. But also what I see is like the most distilled down distinction I can make for a projector as to like where you're going versus what you feel like you're taught that you have to do, right, in life. And I'm much more of like with all my Aquarius placements, like much more of the implied elegance vein. If you know, it's that quiet confidence that says, I don't have to yell and say that say Merry Christmas every 39 milliseconds, but rather like I know that it's Christmas and it's implied in everything that I do. So therefore I don't have to shout it from the rooftops because it's like, okay, we know, right? And so it's that a lot of times when people, and this comes with like rejection exposure too, a lot of times when people feel like it's just a matter of time before someone rejects me or I get a no, or I come up against, you know, a final boss in the video game of life, it's like they want to get yelled at because they feel that somebody inevitably is going to yell at them. So it's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's a lot I can talk about with the fear of rejection. I think a lot of it has been coming up. I know a lot of it has been coming up because in human design, one of the gates that has to do with the fear of rejection sits opposite. It's in Libra, whereas all this Aries is like pushing up against and illuminating all of our Libra stuff, as above, so below, because they're sister signs. So we see a lot of that right now too. But yeah, just some food for thought about that as well. But yeah, let me see. I have, what mediums do you use to ease your emotional heaviness? Oh my gosh. I let myself cry. Honestly, I'm not somebody that finds like validation from crying on the internet. Even though I could, there's a lot of things I could cry about. I work out. Honestly, working out every day, and I don't do something crazy, even if it's just like I walk on my walking pad, I'll walk outside. I really am like religious with taking my vitamins, so like my probiotics and my vitamin D every day, and then a multivitamin as well. Those things alone help me to understand, like, is it a vitamin deficiency? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Or is this like an emotionally dense feeling that I'm feeling because of something else? If you're like human biology, the basics aren't taken care of as a spiritual practitioner as well as an empathic person, it's much harder to, you know, it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks in terms of like what's kind of going on in your life. And so I start with that, you know, making sure that I'm on a consistent routine with that. I also am very big, especially at this point in time in my life where I have the ability to, I'm not like schlepping it in my business and trying to really amp things up. Like I have my, you know, all my wheels going. I have, you know, a healthy cadence to how I operate now. I'm very big on like making sure that I carve out time to read and carve out time, like I said earlier, to work out. You know, having a slower morning is important to me. I don't like talking to people before 12 in the afternoon. Sometimes if I, you know, I'm up a little early. I'll open a session for 11 a.m. But I don't talk to people until later in the afternoon. For my business, that's important to me to help deal with like emotional heaviness, because a lot of the things that people come to me with also holds an undercurrent of emotional intensity. As you guys know, my dad's been sick, and he's back in the hospital rehab right now. That's emotionally heavy, which just makes so much sense, as Taurus South Node in the fourth house and it being in the last degrees of, our Uranus being in the last degrees of Taurus. It was just right on cue. I was like just waiting, kind of like, okay, I wonder how this is going to manifest in real life before it goes into my fifth, which will also be interesting. Hi, Faith. How are you, gorgeous? How are you settling in? But yeah, and I think like I just don't judge myself from feeling the full spectrum of emotions. If I feel resentment, I say, okay, I'm feeling resentful. What can I do about it? Is there anything I can do about it? And if there's not anything that I can do about it, on a day where I feel like I've woken up and it's just been a fucked up sort of day, I just let it be a fucked up sort of day, and then I sleep it off and wake up again tomorrow. Hi, Higher Observer. This is a Human Design body graph. This is one of the charts that I usually read. But yeah, it's like if it's a fucked up day, let it be a fucked up day. That's the easiest advice that I could give anybody. And don't try to make it a not fucked up day or worry about it like tomorrow being fucked up. Take a shot every time I say fucked. That honestly has gotten me through a lot. I will say that I am also very aware that life goes very quickly and time has been going really fast. And so instead of letting that freak me out, because I do have gate 28, which can manifest as the fear of running out of time, I really do see it as the gate of the game player. So if I have a moment where I know I can sit and read my book by the open window and it's sunny outside, I sit and read the book. A lot of it, honestly, too, and thank you, because this is a good thought-provoking question for me to actually articulate how I do get out of my heaviness of emotions, is not overthinking it in my mind. If I say, this morning, I get 2 walking workouts in a day roughly at this point in time. I know that, it's always good to work out. My workout will change. Right now, I don't judge myself if I'm not lifting as heavy as I want to. The workout for whatever I feel today in this block of time is what I do for my workout. As a somatically, sacrally defined person, sacral authority, I get up and I take an action versus sitting and overruling with the monkey mind. If you're angry and fed up, just take a cold shower. That can work too. I hate the cold, so I'm I will burn my skin off before taking a cold shower. I'll do I have a pool nearby, and we'll go into the pool and then the hot tub back and forth. I was doing that with my niece the other day. For me, a lot of my family has been very disappointing, and that's the biggest source of my personal emotional heaviness. And, I have a 6-year-old niece. So instead of looking backwards about what I thought, certain family members were going to do for me, I look forward and I look at her and say, she's 6 years old. They had time. The adults in my life had time to build a relationship with me, get to know me, appreciate me, respect me. She's a 6-year-old who I have the opportunity to pour into, even more so because I have more time, arguably, because I don't have relationships with other members of my family. And so it's that, hope and optimism and seeing, as a 6-year-old, it's she just wants to play and have fun and, have somebody that indulges her and, pretend, princess, games and things like that. So it's that is also, it was perfect timing that she had off from Easter break as my dad was sick again, and being able to use, those kinds of tools and take action that way. And there's nothing better than having a kid in your house to remind you that how to stay present and to slow down. So I will say that too. Deanna, as you know, right? Just watching Aladdin is helpful. Settling in okay? Yes, trying to use all this Aries energy to ride vision. Yes, absolutely. It genuinely, if there was ever a time that I could say 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brakes, it's now. It's okay, I feel there's times last night where I was standing in my house and I'm there's so many things I can do right now, but I don't have the brain power to do it. So let me chill. And because I know that if I don't take this moment as a break to rest right now, it's going to be gone. It's I'm not going to have it again in the future. So it's really to just be where your feet are. I say that all the time. I can't say that enough. Oh my gosh. Transit opposition is my favorite thing. Yes, exactly. About our conversations. Uranus going into your 11th. Exactly. It's so cool to see like how it changes. Hi, bro. More. Hello. Yeah, chronic overthinker here, and keeping my body moving keeps AJ from overpowering me. Absolutely. Aladdin and Cinderella. I love that. Yes. Hi, Dylan. How are you? Hi, Lobito. Hi, Darth. How are you? But yeah, I think it's like I am with Mars on my ascendant. I'm a very going to the park. Oh, enjoy. Pretend read. I love that. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, Mars in my ascendant. I mean, you can see it just in my Adidas, jacket. If there was ever a personification of Mars in the ascendant, it's like what I'm wearing today. But it's like, okay, I always want to be like, my actions are more impactful than the words, even though my Mercury is also on my ascendant. Like when you have that in your Mars and Mercury are obviously right next door to each other, so they're never going to be, I think, more than one sign apart. But it's like, put your money where your mouth is. Actions speak louder than words. Take action like that. It's like, especially as a generator, a manifesting generator, there's power, and there's a reason why we say all of those things, or we have so many of those quotes that are written into, especially the English language, that like match the astrology. Is never that synchronicity is never lost on me. So just more of those things that I think about. But yeah, when it's in the same sign, for me, it's like, okay, if I say I'm gonna do it, even if it's something that I'm giving advice to somebody about, more so like I'm hyper aware of this in sessions, because I feel a professional, ethical, moral responsibility to do so there, especially like if it's something that I know that I don't do, but I'm telling somebody else to do it, I'll let them know, or where is the reasoning as to why I don't take the action. Hi, Steph, how are you? And it's usually because somebody has a completely different energy type or something along those lines. Like they're just a completely different, it's their projector, like totally different energy. But yeah, it's that Mars in the ascendant. It's important for me to think about those things. I often think about those things. And then it's also interesting, like if you're a Pisces rising, a Scorpio rising, an Aquarius rising, who else? I think that's it for the dual. Yeah, like the modern or the modern and traditional rulers. But it's interesting to look at that intersection. Like for me as an Aquarius rising, like looking at Saturn versus looking at Uranus. And then sometimes the more specific we go in, thank you so much. It's nice to see you. The more like specific we go in, we realize when we come back out again that these are all little micro ways to explain the same energy. So, when you get yourself hyped up in the details or lost in the sauce of your astrology or your human design or any modality or spiritual discipline that you use, a lot of it you can understand through coming back out and just allowing yourself to self-reflect. This sounds basic, but what's the importance of channels in our chart? I want to learn more about the 1-8 channel. Yes, it's so funny. Okay, I have an old video that I made like last year all about the 1-8 channel, Deanna. But essentially, it just means like where is our energy like most potent, flowing the most intensely, or most prominent. We're at 47 minutes of the recording. It's in my second YouTube video of the day. Of course, the number has been chasing you. But as someone else that also has the 1-8 channel, it's the channel of inspiration. So we have gate 1, that's a Scorpio placement that meets with gate 8, which is and I was doing this in practice for our class tomorrow, the Astrology of Human Design class. I'm so excited to do it. Is very late degree Taurus, and like I think it's 0 degrees and 7 solar arc minutes of Gemini. So it may be, I think for you actually, that your gate 8 may actually be, okay, there you go. Okay, there we go. Yes, thank you so much. It's been a long time coming. And obviously as a 1-3, I'm like, okay, like I finally have to like get honestly, it's been pure like overwhelm and laziness that has not let me put together a course, just because I know I knew how much time that the PowerPoint alone was going to take me, and like, being the nutty professor that has all this paperwork everywhere, I was like, okay, this is the moment to do it. I feel that. But yeah, so Deanna, to go back to answering your question, it's the flow of energy between energy centers, right? I know you do. Our chakras. So it's like, what chakras are the most important to us? For you, right? And this is usually like the things that are like the final bosses in our life. It's your throat and your G center. especially because you only have one channel, right, or one defined connection there, you're much more open to being affected by the transits because there's more influence on you and your openness or your undefinedness or where you have white in your chart. So for you, two of the biggest things to be unapologetically or to use is your sense of self and your voice as a self-projected projector. It's like, yeah, hear me roar. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. Fuck you. Like that, like in my true New Jersey way, like that is like, be unafraid to be yourself because it really doesn't fucking matter. Like these people don't fucking matter if they don't understand you. Like it's so irrelevant. It's laughable. And like the nice part is, with safety in mind, as I told you, with safety in mind, like, the conversation you and I had privately, Deanna, about that individual, that was weird, right? Because I've had a lot of creeps in my life too, that, and as women, unfortunately, and men, honestly, there's just creeps everywhere. But, depending on where you've experienced your creep final boss, it's like letting you know, like, look at how I went through this thing where this person thinks the worst of me and how it still didn't fucking matter. How this person, and I want you to think very critically right now when I say this, I want you to think about people in the world right now that are in positions of power and have a certain level of success, depending on how you want to define it, that are well known, that have hundreds of thousands of people that hate them. And it doesn't affect them in a public way. At least probably doesn't affect their bank account. And I want you to think about how that can also be possible for you. Now, is it fucked up that there are people who are really fucked up in the world? And, we know the spectrum of what I'm talking about there. But I want you to think about how it's like, that's the healthy, keeping my ego in check of my Aquarius rising. It's like, we're the know-it-alls. Hi, Sammy. But it's like I have just enough of that like Aquarius know-it-all complex to look at the world and be like, this person ain't that fucking special. Like, like we'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like if I want, if my goals are a fraction of what this person has, like I'm gonna be okay. Like I'm okay. I know my morals, I know my values, I know my heart, and like I'm not worried about me. Like I'm concerned about me. I put effort into me, but I'm not worried about me not getting what I want. But yeah, it's like that, and that 1-8, like this is what I was just saying to Nini earlier. Hi, Mary. Is that people will reheat your nachos. People will not even know that they reheat your nachos because they are, your confidence, your security, and your sense of self will make them doubt themselves, feel a little insecure, whatever it is. Like it's as a 1-8, you're naturally going to trigger something in people because they don't have it in themselves, and it's, for me, like I know I've experienced that frequency so many times that I know the people who are going to be harmful versus the people who are harmless, and it's just something that I trigger within them, right? And so there's some people that like have come to me in my life that I notice experience that, or they get nervous in my presence for whatever reason, and I can look at it with love and grace, but that takes practice, because before I had a level of self-confidence and self-awareness of who I was and what I represented and what I had to offer people, I was like just turned off by that and was like, what the fuck is your problem? Like I would be like, in my New Jersey East Coaster, very like, aggressive way, so to speak, like I would never really go too off, but it was like knowing like who is actually, and listen, this has a lot to do with like my personal trauma of like, Scorpio moon, like things that I had gone through where my biggest final boss was feeling secure in my body, with my experiences. And you can read between the lines there for people who have been through particularly challenging situations in their life. So once I came out of that, it's like I had to teach myself as a young teenager or an older teenager, young adult in my 20s. Now I'm happy to give some of the weird gruffiness of New York, your way, New York, New Jersey. But yeah, it's just, knowing when you're your nervous system is shot, you know, when your sense of safety has been shot, you take everything as a threat. You know, and I've learned to use discernment instead of seeing it as threatening, you know, and yeah, I don't know. That's just a couple things that I could say when it comes to like also having the 1-8. You know, even just in the archetype of the numbers, like 8 infinity, 1, you know, individual, like the gate 1 is gate of self-expression. When you get the PDF tomorrow, Deanna, after our call, and you'll see it obviously in the masterclass, I'll have all the gate names listed. I'm an OG girl, so like it was funny because I had someone message me, and then she got upset when I like gave her feedback about her app. I was like, this is not gonna work. Because I don't like when people change the names of the gate placements. I find it like human design is already complicated. Like, unless it's truly a copyright issue, like we don't need to be changing shit to feel special. Like, it's okay that I think people, and I've also experienced this because I went through my own little identity crisis as a 1-8 person. Like, I would get like insecure, like, oh, I didn't create my, you know, like everyone that's a life coach has like a trademarked, like, you know, the 4-step cerebral system, or like, so, you know, it's all, everyone has their method, and I had to work through in my early 20s, like, you know, should I have a method? Does it matter that I don't have my thing? And like, honestly, I wasted so much time if I just like, it was like shit or get off the pot, right? The action of like, I just had to like do the thing and start talking about it instead of being concerned about having my method and blah, blah, blah. Because like, it didn't fucking matter anyway. Like, you know, Robert, who loves to hear himself talk, he's the founder of Human Design. He's dead now. But I always say that, like, that's where it's funny, like people who get really upset about like, well, Human Design is a cult and blah blah blah, and it's like, no, like I also don't worship at the feet of Rahu. Like, I don't care, like, thanks for the idea, like I always give him credit, shout out to the guy, but like I don't know, the whole rabbit hole I could go down or digress on, I'll digress on that. But gate 1, gate of self-expression, is like, how can you yourself just explicitly express who you are as an individual. Thank you, Steph. Yes, human design is what you make it, but it's true. How can you express your individuality, right? And then gate 8 is then how does that contribute to the whole? And I was going to make a piece of content about this, but I'll share it now since I remembered. Looking at your human design body graph, when you guys see the 2 pillars on the left and the right hand side, your top right sun gate sign, there's a sun symbol. It's on my chart generator, it's the black column versus the red column. The top right black square is called your personality sun. So it's the type of sun sign that you are. Similar to decans in astrology, in human design, each of the 12 zodiac signs is broken down into 6 placements, which are gate placements. That's part of what I'll be teaching tomorrow. And like the specific degrees of all of that, so you don't have to search the internet like I did for 3 days getting all that information together, because that was literally 3 days that became really 3 weeks of my life trying to find the right information. But I want you to look at where your sun gate placement, what chakra or energy center it sits in. I am a sacral manifesting generator, but I'm a Pisces sun. Specifically, a gate 63 Pisces sun. So when I think about, yes, I'm a Unga Bunga sacral manifesting generator human, I'm looking at but where does like 70% of my influence or energy or externalizing or what people see in me, where does that live? And then I say, okay, it lives in the crown ajna. You know, it's halfway in the head, halfway outside of the head. And so I look at those 2 kind of connections, if you will, pressure center, exactly. And I say, okay, people like my mind. They like the way that I think, right? And so I know this now because I've done this for a long time, and it's the feedback that people always give me or compliment on me. But if you only think about your human design in terms of your energy type and your chakras, right, or your authority, it feels there. That's why I feel like a disconnect. I have a lot of air in my chart and water, so it makes sense that I don't feel like what we would interpret as earth is a sacral manifesting generator. So to finish that, yes, exactly, very competitive, like self-motivated from the heart, tough, like a tough love coach. Here we'll get you an Adidas sweatshirt too. But yeah, I use my own website for the chart generation. So I don't have like because I'm assuming, Dylan, that you're talking about like what app would I use for descriptions. I also use the Neutrino app too. It's very helpful, and it's perfect because if anything you click on in your chart, it'll give you a like description. I pay for it. It's like $36 a year, but I don't think you have to pay for it to get that. I think you have to pay if you want to run like everyone's chart, whatever. But you should be able to get your chart for free. It's funny because I was just looking at mine today. I haven't opened it in a while because I'm a gate 63.1 Pisces sun. But yeah, it's very, very, very helpful for self-discovery and just like picking and choosing a spot every day. Like, okay, I want to look at my personality sun. But that would be the place that I would start is your personality sun. But Deanna, like when we go back to using your chart as an example, hi Chelsea, as like the 1-8 channel, the first line, right? The first like point of, really we're looking at it from the bottom up, the first point of contact where your gate 8 is, and everyone's gate 8. A gate 8 is always in the diamond-shaped center, known as the G center of love and direction, in the middle of your chart. That energy flows from the root chakra up in human design. So like the pressure center of your crown is the head is the last place that it sits. But I have to stare out into the woods so that I can keep my train of thought. Me just like staring at the trees. But you're gonna feel that first. So it's like, what do I contribute? But how does this also? It's okay that I have to care about me. I gotta put me first. That TikTok audio. I gotta put me first, right? Exactly. Yes, the one line. Like you too, Steph. It's like it's okay that we have to put ourselves first, especially as a manifestor. And that's, I would say, for Steph and I, like that's a fucked up part about both our designs, is that like we're incredibly independent, but we're also hyper aware of like how we affect other people, and like that is like, okay, what does that mean? You know, for me as a gate 63.1 Pisces sacral manifesting generator, the blessing in what I show, and this is what pretty much what I've said of like me kind of realizing that life is always changing. Exactly. Well, especially because like all of our energy, and I will say this, like for you, for Orion, for Steph, for Deanna, for Nini, like we all have a variation of that motherly moon like nurture energy, and saying, okay, I see that people recognize this, but like I don't want to change the diapers of people who aren't my children, you know? So it's like that, like, okay, what do we do with that? Like, I know that I want to help people, but who's looking, you know, to be an adult baby versus who is looking to actually like get the tools? And that, like, for me, I always, what I felt was so fucking annoying about so many of like the life coaches, spiritual practitioners, especially when I was looking in my early 20s, is that so much of their free master classes or their free this or their free download is just like shit that I could find in the first 3 pages of every self-help book that has been created since the beginning of time. 4-hour work week. What else am I looking at? Freakonomics. The slight edge. What else do I have? You know, all those things. And I was like, but this doesn't help me. Like, I want to know, like, what's the real data that's like the real action-based thing. So, like, yes, there are people that have told me throughout my lifetime that I'm an overgiver, but I still know that in 10 years of doing this, that I could write the full entire script for how I make my money, what I do in business, how I do it, and people are still fundamentally lazy and won't do it. Why do you think that every New Year's Eve there is a new fitness app, workout routine, diet plan? The basics is just calories in, calories out. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing can be applied to spirituality. You cannot help somebody that truly doesn't want to be helped, right? The thing that you have to do is figure out as a spiritual practitioner where to place people in your life and in your business based on where they're realistically at. There are people that comment on my videos every single day. They've never booked a session with me. That's to me is always going to be okay. That our relationship, thank you for the engagement, thank you for the comment, that helps me. If you never book a session with me, if you never pay me in real dollars, it's fine because you're paying me in attention, right? That's part of the business model. So it's like those types of things that I would encourage you guys to think about, is like, and it goes back to the 1-8 channel, Deanna, like, because even those people, right, they're not necessarily people that I would want closer to me than that. Right? Like, that's okay, right? I'm okay. Exactly. The energy exchange. And a lot of it too, is really looking at, like, for people, there's a lot of people who, and I notice this especially in women, lonely women specifically, that when you have a, depending on where your moon is aspected, people don't understand, especially because we're so fucking starved for authentic friendship, as a society, that because I know so much of the intimate parts and can articulate things in people's lives that they don't have the ability to articulate, or nobody in their life has articulated before, they have this inability to separate the fact that, like, wow, I can't sit with my sadness and the fact that I don't get that from my husband, I don't get that from my actual friendships. I've paid Brenna to get that, but that does not mean that Brenna is my stand-in husband. Brenna is not my stand-in bestie. Brenna is not, my emotional dumping ground in her DMs for things for free. Like, it's that third space of, like, that we don't have anymore. Yeah, and I'm happy to articulate it. It's like, and that's been like the weirdest part of this business for me, especially recently in the last years, like, clients that try to get closer to me because they don't know how to find authentic connection in other areas of their life. And so it's like, I can be friendly with you, and it's also okay that I'm friendly, but you're also a client, right? That doesn't, I have my people, I'm good, right? Like, I don't have space, and I would actually be a shitty friend if I let you in that space in my life, because there's other, like, it's like people don't like when they see, like, what's behind the curtain, so to speak. And when you have somebody that's a client that tries to circumnavigate that, they only know you as a role in their life that is open to accepting a one-sided flow in terms of it's reciprocal, right? There's an energy exchange, but it's not the same. Like, it's dollars for emotions, let's say, to simplify it. It's more than that, but for ease of simplicity. Hi, Sony, how are you? I didn't see you sneak in here. I'll pivot over to you in 13 minutes. So someone who is a client that tries to push past those boundaries only knows you as a person that only listens to their suffering and pain and helps them with it. So you cannot build an authentic friendship with a client most times. Yes, are there people that have statistically slipped through the cracks and it works out amazingly? I'm sure on the face of God's green earth, yes, it has. But most times, and I know it's never worked out, in my personal experience, where it's like, once I go to share, right, or in the past, somebody has weaseled their way through, it's like there's no room for that anymore. It's blowing up my phone, it's 10-minute audio message, like those types of things. So it's like how can I explain, as somebody who does have authentic friendships and friends that I go see, and like it's impossible to go backwards in that way, or to try to re-explain, especially, somebody who's an adult. So it especially if you're doing this work, I always say to just like, and like, Deanna, in your situation with women too, and I was thinking more so about you in this circumstance, that like it's important to know who is okay for you to just have as a client. And if you need friendships, like, where can you also go to feel fulfilled? Like, my true friends, like my best friends that I know that, like, if I needed something I could call in the middle of the night, are also people who don't put themselves or get themselves in a position where, like, they need somebody that they need to call in the middle of the night. My best friends are all like 2 hours away from me plus in every direction. And so, and most of them are actually men. So it's, my friend Pablo is in Brooklyn. I have both friends, Ryan, that are, hours and states away. So it's like, that has not been lost on me. Yes, do I have female friendship? Yeah, yes, but like, they're more so, it's just a particular type of person. And this is like the third wall stuff that, like, you don't, in our spaces, I say our spaces because I see Steph's sweet little face up there too. Like, it's that, like, no one talks about this stuff, and it's hard to almost put it into words sometimes, or like, life goes so fast that you forget that these are the important gray areas that we don't get to talk about, because it's like, oh shit, like, yeah, this does happen, and I don't even realize that it's happening until I'm like, oh fuck, like, I have to deal with this now. So yeah, I think it's like knowing you can be authentic and you can be friendly, but that also doesn't mean that somebody's like your BFF, you know, and in an age where we're so disconnected and disjointed and learning what friendship and community looks like in 2026, I really feel like this is the redefining of relationships in a post-pandemic society. Like, this is part of those after effects of lockdown and not knowing, you know, what it was going to do to us long term. And this is part of the result of that, you know, and what that looks like. So who knows? You know, again, cautiously optimistic is my phrase that I go by, but yeah. Yeah, just saying we can TikTok besties with boundaries. Exactly. And I think that's the thing. It's like, what's helpful for me is that, like, I have friends that I do certain things with. Like, I go to a bar class, like a bar workout, like dance fitness studio once a week. And I have my friends that, like, I'll just work out with. Maybe I'll go get like a cup of coffee with them afterwards. But it's like, I don't even have their phone number. Like, oh, we'll see you at bar. And I miss that. Like, it's like, to me, that's like the equivalent of getting the early 2000s back, where like you knew where everybody was hanging out because everyone's bikes were in the front yard, but like you didn't know until you were outside and had to go outside to find them. So to me, it's like, I love that, like, my work requires a lot of my energy for being needed. And I realized as I got older that I only had, you know, it's like we only have so many places where we're allowed to be needed that are, you know, I know that professionally that gives me fulfillment, but I am also checking myself and knowing that, like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, you know. I told somebody the other day, like, I'm happy to work with you, but like, I am not somebody that's well versed in the ADHD spectrum, which is more autism leaning. Like, I can give you, you know, a good guideline, but let's just do a one-off session. That's not necessarily somebody that I feel equipped enough to put into 8 weeks of mentorship with me. You know, it's like picking those spots and being aware of like your personal capacity. But yeah, it's like, the level of need, all relationships need something, need nurturing in some capacity, but the level of need in my personal relationships is not the same needs that like my clients have of me, and acknowledging that distinction, and that for me, you know, less is more in all areas of my life. You know, I don't need as much as you think you do to make you happy. Let me go back here because I did see that, Chelsea, before. I have 8 minutes before I'll bring up Sony's chart here. Do I have 40.5? I don't have 40. Do I have 40? No, it's on my Chiron. I don't have any Virgo gate placements, but I feel like it's probably, I have a gate 59 Virgo Chiron, which also tells you a lot about my trauma, if you know the gate placements, if you know, you know. But it's also like, if I had to simplify it, it's like words can get you into trouble in relationships. And depending on the nature of the relationship, I also have it in the 5th line, which is the femme fatale line, I believe. Because every gate is broken down into 5, so it's also a 5 line. So it's a little bit of like yin and yang, but more so, I attribute a lot of that to Pisces is the sister sign to Virgo, but it's also that like awareness of just like, I'm an Aquarius, I need to detach, I need my alone time. And because I'm so friendly as a Pisces, it's like, it's really fucking hard to be somebody who sees and understands other people. But I'm like, why is it so hard for people to understand me? Like, why is that so fucking hard for people to see me as a person too, who has needs and has emotions, and like, get off my jock? You know what I mean? Like, that is like next level infuriating to me, when it's like people forget. Like, I had somebody whose comments kept getting blocked here that was like, I need you, talk to me, I need to ask you something really important. No, you fucking don't. Like, get in line like everybody else, bitch. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, it's like, you can see like my level of like, get off my dick. Like, it's like so entitled. When somebody becomes entitled to my time, the quickest way for me to never talk to you again is to text me once. And it's like, I have that pathological demand avoidance. Like, if you're begging me to do something, I'm like, I'll never talk to you ever again. You don't exist to me. Like that. It's like, it's like, no, you know, if you need something that intensely, call 911, because it's not going to be me. Like, stop. I can't. It like does it viscerally like infuriates me. Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, thank you. I don't know. My craze, like, I just can't. I cannot. It's the blessing and the curse. Like, all these things that I'm sharing are the blessing of the curse of being a transparent person, but also like, and being real, but also like, because I have no ability to like pretend. Like, compartmentalizing is different than pretending. Like, it's like the judgment that I feel like I get a lot of the times, that people think I'm being secretive without, or like I'm withholding for the sake of withholding, or gatekeeping for whatever reason. But it's like, no, I just don't want to talk about the deepest parts of my life, when in this moment my responsibility is to share. I can relate and explain and use as an example, but it's like, this is not the time and place for me to go through my shit. I have my people that I talk to go through my shit, right? So it's like that, like, the Pisces in us is like, we see everything everywhere all the time. And yeah, it's like, that's why I feel like as Pisces we sleep so much, because the only time we can shut our brain off and stop analyzing is when we're unconscious. And then it's like, okay, like, this is the sleep. I take a nap almost, you know, every afternoon for 30 minutes to an hour. And yeah, on the days that I don't, I'm like, I'm in bed early, because like, the brain needs to stop picking up on things. Make me unconscious. That's the only time I can relate, or not relate, I should say. Opposite problem, where I just let everyone walk all over me. Yeah, and I think like, you just get, honestly, and I was there too, Chelsea, I really think it's like, we all hit our wall. And I don't do I Ching cards. I do human design readings when I look at the gates, which are a part of them, of course. But yeah, I don't do I Ching. I've only seen one woman that's, I believe, in China, that does them, because it's always morning for her when I'm like doom scrolling at night before I go to sleep. She has glasses. She always wears like pretty traditional dress, and she does I Ching cards. I don't remember what her name is though. But yeah, Chelsea, I also just got like sick and tired of people walking all over me, like, or just like letting it happen. I was just like, this is embarrassing, and this isn't what I want to be known for. Because like, when I look at, and I always look at people who are a little bit older than me, and like, who do I actually admire? Like, what energy do I like? What do I want to embody? It's never been somebody who just lets people walk all over them. And I had to get really honest with myself about like, it's like, nobody likes somebody who is telling other people about how much other people take advantage of them, right? So it's like having to get in that reality check of like, that's not something that I'm inspired by, so why would I be that person? And that is just like, it's again the level of accountability that we want to have. Like, okay, if this is like, and I just, because I'm a Housewives person, and I've been like just putting my time in watching the most recent season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which I don't enjoy, but like, it's there, whatever. I love Rachel Zoe. And Kyle Richards says, you know what she said in this last episode, you know, if you meet more than one asshole a day, they say that you're probably the asshole. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely using that. Because I hadn't heard that one before, but it's true, right? It's like, if everyone's an asshole and you're the common denominator, like, yes, so there are a lot of people that are assholes right now, of fucking course, we see that every day, but like, it's that self-reflection of like, if everyone's walking all over me, and I'm the common denominator, I have to really take a look at my role in my own suffering, and saying like, well, what can I do to have better boundaries? And maybe, you know, I will say this, it's like, you know, riding a bike. You maybe get it right every third interaction, and then eventually, like, what I love, like, because DMs are like, I don't like emails, DMs, I'm very serious about, like, I don't like to live there. Well, this is where I'll say, Chelsea, like, if you want to believe it, then like, fine. Like, I'm not going to argue with a grown woman about like her chart, and like, if you want to be set up that way, like, be set up that way, but like, don't piss me off. Like, that's just annoying to be like, my chart's set up that way. Like, okay, then get walked all over. Like, I don't want to hear it. I really don't. This is Aries in my third house, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, do you want to be in, like, the comments, like, saying how you're getting walked all over, or like, do you want to do something about it? Your chart is not what you're predisposed to be only. It's like, what do you lean towards, and then what are you going to do about it? But like, I cannot do the like, we're women in business, we're strong. Like, there's so many things that we know. We have the luxury of being born in America in 2026, where we can make our own money, right? It's like, stop right now. Like, stop it. You're too successful. You have too much going for you to like lay down like that and give up. Because that's what that energy tells me. It's like, if somebody's like that, they're laying down and giving up. And that I just don't have patience for. Because it's like, at the end of the day, like, what do you, like, are we going to fix it or are we not going to fix it? Okay, hold on. Pause. I'm going to bring up Sony's chart right now. Sony's our reflector. I don't even know where the moon is today. Yay. Okay, hold on. So let me bring up Sony's chart because she's paid for the next 10 minutes of my time. And then I will pivot back here to answering comments in between. But yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier too, as I'm putting in Sony's data. Like, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them, right? Like, okay, then like I don't want to be like, if you want to go to astrology to find it as a place to excuse like getting out of taking action or having any sovereignty or autonomy over your own life, then fine. But like, I'm not that person for you then. You know, like, I value people who are like, okay, this sucks. Like, how can I use my chart to say, how am I going to choose differently and want better for myself? That's what we use it for. But I won't. Oh, Sony. Okay, there we go. But I'm not like, I don't do like, oh, this is just the way that I made. Teehee. Like, you're not 6 years old anymore. Like, that is just like, we can't be doing that in 2026. That's some 2020 TikTok bullshit that, you know, we left back there. Okay, so I'm just writing down your timestamp here. So we're starting at 1 minute and 20 seconds. And congratulations on your esthetician school. I'm excited for you. Yes, I think I have like 2 spots open. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Mercury. I'm excited to connect with you. I want to know, Mercury, your energy feels really cool, like more about what you're doing. But let me pour into Sony for the moment, for the time being. Thank you, Steph. So yes, so what do we think about, I just started esthetician school. What do we think about this career? I want to open my own place and eventually maybe sell teas to fulfill the apothecary dream. I love that. And listen, it's not a matter of like, similar to what I was saying, like, is this career the right path, right? I will say this. This is a quote that I heard the other day, and it was about, you don't learn how to swim by reading about water. And, like, you just have to dive right in, and it's about action over time. You know, you're sweet. Thank you. I didn't even know how to get goals set up, so thank you. But it's one of those things, Sony, where it's like, you don't know until you try. And I will say this, that every time you go into any career, life is not without its challenges. So the immediate things that I could say to you to kind of like predict what some of your challenges will potentially be, it's honestly just like physical exhaustion. And it goes back to that quote that's been viral on the internet, where it's like, what a blessing to be exhausted by a life that we chose. And I can, as you know, from one entrepreneur to another and running my own business, it's like, okay, like when there are months where, you know, things were really tight, you know, financially, I was like, okay, I don't want to ever feel that way again. So every time I get a reading, a booking, anytime money flows my way, a percentage of that money flows into savings or investments, right? Like, it has to flow somewhere else, and, you know, money flow, right? Like a lot of the water words that relate to money, currency, all those kinds of things. It's, you know, setting up future you for less stress when moments are currently stressful, because you say to yourself, I don't want to feel like this again. And it's nice because, exactly to your point, like, what a beautiful ability for you to also fulfill your apothecary dreams and to enter into that layer when, like, you have a book of business that you're creating in aesthetic school, you know, to be able to do that. So what I would look at, and I know that you probably have some recordings prior from the other readings that we've done together, is like, when do you notice, and it's probably during the new moon versus the full moon, that your energy is the most low? When do you notice that you feel like the most tired? Hi, Neff. Probably going to be a little bit more depleted during the new moon versus the full moon. So since you can track that, Neff, as soon as I'm talking about my reflector, Sony here, as soon as you notice, right, like what that kind of tracking is, I don't want you to make rash decisions, and that's like the psychology term is catastrophization. I don't want you to over inflate the hard in a moment where you're tired. It's like they say, and I know that I'm guilty of this too, to never make major decisions when you're about to go to bed, right? It's like, and that's why we doom scroll, right? It's because all the things that we feel stressed out about, we have time to think about it. I'm an intuitive as well, Mercury, as you could probably tell, and Sony's a long-term client of mine, so we've known each other for like over a year. So yes, I'm looking at the chart, but I'm also not looking at the chart. I'm just talking purely right now, well, not purely, but most of what I'm referencing is her being a reflector. So yeah, the one that I put at 2026. So we're not looking at the chart actually that's on my screen because it's 2026 for her birthday. Not her birth year, but Sony's a reflector. So when you're a reflector, you follow the lunar cycle they're the only energy type that's lunar instead of solar. So they embody the moon. So the moon changes zodiac signs every 2.5 days roughly. So every 2.5 days, we're looking at like, okay, who is Sony today, right? So on a day, Sony, when you notice, like tracking the lunations, you could do astro-seek.com. They're back up and running. You can look at, what sign is the moon in. You're going to say like, okay, when the moon is in Virgo, I notice that like I'm a little bit more tired versus the moon, when the moon is in Sony is my reflector here. But that'll tell you, like, and it's usually, like I said earlier, during the new moons versus the full moons that you'll be tired. The whole point that I'm trying to shit out right now is to not make decisions during your tired days. What that teaches you is that you cannot appreciate having a lot of work when you don't honor the times that you have periods of rest. Because I will tell you, as we know, that we never know when life is going to become unpeaceful. So it's like in those days where you're like, things are a little bit slow or things aren't, going the way that you want them to, that's like the universe's way of saying like, okay, hi Swas, hi UXT zone. I'm doing a reading for Sony right now, so I'll pop back over back and forth in a few minutes. But yeah, time is too sacred, and if there's anything that's certain that we know for a fact through the test of time is that nothing bad lasts forever, nothing good lasts forever. There's variations of good and bad that last all the time, right? The only consistent thing in life, or they say the only thing sure in life is death and taxes. I say the only consistent thing in life is change, which is very Gate 63.1. That's like my philosophy of life, but it is objectively true. Looking at the news every day, we never know what's going to happen. So it's also okay if you go through esthetician school and a year from now, you choose something else. And you say, this is, okay, Keanu Reeves. Wait, that's wild. Block. Okay, bye. Go for yourself, other way. Yes, line 1. I'm a 1-3. Damn, we should have actually kept Keanu Reeves and asked if he would have funded your esthetician business. That would have been fun. Real Keanu Reeves probably would too. If we ask nicely enough, give him free facials for life. But it's because of the degree, Mercury, of my Pisces sun in astrology. That's what leads to the profile lines. I'm literally teaching a class on it tomorrow. But yeah, Sony, it's okay if a year from now, you and I are having the same conversation. Just owning that things change, and like as you go through life, right, that like things shift, and that's like the beauty of what life is teaching us now as well, is that Uranus and Gemini is like things can change so quickly, but things can also be chaotic good. They don't always have to be chaotic bad. So if we know this and we understand that as a fundamental truth right now for this time that we're living in society, then we're not surprised when things change. But you can stay grounded in saying, exactly, nothing is certain. Like, I I know that I am making this decision that's intuitively best, because the thing that we know that's always been consistent about your personality, Sony, is that you've always liked aesthetics, period. Whether it's the aesthetics of clothes, or what exactly we were doing now, like actual aesthetics, things along those lines. We always know those things to be consistently true, right? And to liking the beauty in life, and to taking care of our physical vessel. That's been a red thread truth through everything that you're doing. So, that also only has a finite number of variations in which that can take place. Maybe you decide you like thrifting, and you have, a clothes rack that's set up, and your esthetician office, or whatever it's called, ends up becoming, an outpost a year from now of your apothecary / vintage clothes, right? So it's like not judging yourself for if and when it changes, but to rolling with how it changes as you as an individual evolve, right? Like if I looked at, me posting a 1 7-second clip, once a day on TikTok a year from now, I would have judged and be like, oh my gosh, Brenda, you're so lazy. Now I realize that because I couldn't predict that, I would be way busier on the back end of things than I knew was, how I was going to be busy last year, right? It's like what I thought changed forms. And instead of making myself feel guilty about it not amounting to like content creation not being what I thought it was going to be, I got blessed in another way, because I didn't judge the way that my blessings flowed to me anyway. They just flowed to me in a different way. I knew it was going to be under the umbrella of spirituality, a la aesthetics to you, but I'm not precious about like, this isn't what it's like when you start to dig your heels in, and it's like those are the variations of expectations that lead to resentments that are not actually helpful for you. So exactly. And you've said that for a long time now, since I've known you pretty much. So it's like, that will be like, what a blessing, to be able to know that that's a consistent for you, and, be surprised as to like how fast it could happen. It may be sooner than later. So it's a matter of if, or when, not if. It's a matter of if, not when. It's a matter of when, not if. I just had to do the military time change for Dylan's chart here. Hi, Bunches. How are you? I'm just doing a reading for, I finished up for Sony, and now Dylan. Dylan, you also get, as I mentioned to Sony earlier, and thank you, because I was a minute over in my true yapper fashion, you get the YouTube recording. People can't see like your actual, like specific information, but just the chart specifically. So it's a variation of privacy. But yeah, Sony, I'm excited for you. Let me know when your skincare is ready, because I would love to try some. I love a good skincare, or anything apothecary. So keep me posted, and thank you for booking a reading with me. Yeah, but for beautiful Dylan, so it's so funny, because the two placements that we were talking about earlier that Deanna has defined, which is the throat and the G center, are the two of the three that you have undefined, where everything else is defined in your chart. So what's so funny is that the first thing that I went to automatically, and why you and I, like it's real recognizes real, and that East Coastness, is that I put a vocabulary to your 1858 channel, which is quite literally like a channel of judgment. It's the gate of correcting with the gate 58, the gate of vitality, which is basically like my way of saying like, hey, it's cool to be judgmental. Like you're allowed to be a judgy bitch. And that happens sometimes because you mean well, like your heart is in the right place, and saying like, okay, like how do I call it out as I see it? And how do I do so in a way that feels like it, is that with some variation of love and kindness, like that tough love kind of energy that you do find helpful. Now, when I read, specifically what you say here with your question, I'm wanting to grow my Reiki business and I'm wanting some inspiration or guidance. What would work best? What would work best for? Trying to do a little quick interpreting. So the first thing that I'll tell you, yeah, exactly. The first thing that I tell you is that you have a completely open, there's two types, and let me show you what I'm looking at, so that you can see just a little section, and then you'll see this on this is what your recording looks like. So you'll see like me in the little corner here, and then your chart, but it's easier for me to do it this way, so it's not as distracting. projecting, this is what I go to right away. So this is called an undefined center. This is a defined center, and this is a completely open center, meaning that there's no flavor or preconceived notion of how you should act or what direction you should go in. And that can make you like really loving or empathetic to the right people, and also giving the wrong people a lot of your time of day. Because it's like that openness, and it's nature and nurture. Like, excuse me, how you grew up can also influence that, right? People taking advantage, etc., so on and so forth. But for Reiki, it's incredibly powerful in terms of you will feel like this is where your empathetic, like psychic intuition would kind of filter through, because you're looking at the person in front of you, and it's like I wanted you to think of it as when you do Reiki as like wine tasting, where somebody else, your client, has poured wine into your glass, and you go from white to rosé to red, let's say. And you swirled it, you tasted it, but any good wine tasting venue will have the spittoon or whatever it's called, where after you taste it, you got the flavor, you got the sense of it, you spit it out. And then after we go home, we go wine tasting, we brush our teeth before we go to bed to practice good hygiene and make sure that we have teeth to survive, through the acidic wine tasting. So a lot of that is going to be like tasting the flavor of life. Bye, Faith, I'll see you soon. I'd love to see you in a session. But that's what's helpful. And that's exactly a good lesson in all areas of your life. It's not just related to career, but it's a big one that will help you when we're talking about energy work, because you don't want to take on shit that isn't yours to carry. You help people transmute it, you help people do something with it, but it's not your responsibility to bring it home with you. And that is where, like, you even more so than other people will need to be very strict with having a like release ritual of some kind. Like every day when you go in and when you leave, you have to be strict with the program. And it's like you will know when you don't practice good energetic hygiene, also more than the average person. For you, and you also have a triple split definition, which means that you have like 3 individual pockets of voices that talk to you at any given time. It's kind of like an ask 3 then me. Like I am one of 2 other people, or one of 3 people that you can ask about Reiki business, right? To get everything that you need, because what that does is help bridge the gap or bridge the split, is like the human design connection, in understanding like how you have to get a certain amount of data and listening to other people to put all of those pieces together. Because you may take like one nugget of information I've given you in this reading and then take a nugget from one other person. It doesn't even have to be like another human design reader or spiritual reader, but just like in other places in the world, to put together what you need to have as for the secret sauce that is like Dylan's Reiki business, right? It just depends on how you want to flow with it. You're going to be a pure generator, so I honestly would encourage you to almost operate, which you would anyway, but the first thing that came to my mind is like a mobile massage business, but for Reiki. There are so many, no matter where you are in the world, so many spiritual wellness fairs. I would get like a mobile massage table, work your muscles if you don't already, to carry the mobile massage table and do like pop-up Reiki. Like that for you is perfect. And also like maybe some of like the curtain walls where it's like almost like a massage therapist, but okay. Oh, I love that. There you go. Some more affirmation. But it's, yeah, I mean, especially because you have the ability to like be literally mobile in so many ways, like A+, because you can go to any place in the world and find that variety. It's also what's helpful for your bouncing around, I think, with your placements too, and also that need for detachment. It's like not being stuck with one person for too long. You can relate to somebody for a reason and a season, but you don't have to relate to them forever, and picking and choosing your spots for what that looks like. But yeah, so I would continue on with that. And if there's something that you feel like as it develops, I feel like the summer is also a perfect time because you don't have to worry about like ice and snow in most places right now in the world, during the spring and the summer. Like allow that to be like your ability to kind of assess and just look at what you like of what other people are doing. Like if you like the idea of going live and doing, you know, Reiki sessions like this. You know, there's plenty of people online that do that. But if you prefer more of that like generator, high touch, literally somatic expression, there's also nothing wrong with that. It's like leaning towards like, when you have an undefined throat, yes, you can talk and be direct, but it can be challenging for you to talk for long periods of time unless you were to be like silent, right? Like doing Reiki work. But yeah, I think it's not, it's really listening to that trial and error self-expression piece and understanding like, what is it that feels like for this cycle of my life? Yeah, no, gate 5, that's okay. And for this cycle of my life, that feels like it's the most intuitively correct, hi Tina, for what I'm doing. And if I'm craving something more, which your question automatically leads me to believe in an educated guess that there's something else on the horizon that's going to shift for you, I would look at this summer as an opportunity to say like, oh nice, okay, I love that. What glyph is next to it? Mercury, like where does it sit in your chart? Yes, I'm 1 minute over, Tina. So I'll start for at 2:51 my time. So in 1 minute, I just wanted to make sure that I give everyone their 10 minutes. So thank you. But in true fellow chaos with grace fashion. I love that. But yeah, I would really look at Dylan like, what is this summer? How can it allow you to get as many different perspectives of how you can grow your business? Like once it's a little bit more challenging to drive around in the world and see what you're doing. And, you know, like when it becomes time to park the RV in one spot, maybe for a little bit of a longer winter, assuming that you're still, in the US. So, you know, more food for thought. But I just love the idea of you really using like looking and start looking at looking and reading at everything that you can about your undefined G center. There's a lot of places that you can find like stuff like that on the internet to be able to dissect it a little bit more and understand like how that can apply to your Reiki business. But it's a perfect let me see. Let's see. Oh, is this my usual Tina? Let me make sure, because I have to go back. I don't use the same, it's going to take me a minute to get your info up again, because it's buried. We've said you have it so many times that it's buried and my thing has changed. Okay, perfect. But yeah, Dylan, I would just use this summer to pick up on as many different ways that other people are doing things and to really start to ask yourself based on what you know, as much as you can read about with your undefined G center. My favorite book, it's linked and is an Amazon affiliate link should you choose to use it. But it's the definitive book of human design, and there's a whole section about undefined G centers. I may even have a video about it on my YouTube channel. But I don't remember if I do, to be honest with you. But I would read everything you can about that and think about how to apply that in your Reiki business, because that feels like the next appropriate nugget to do so. But I will send you this recording after live today. Tina's going to be my last reading of the day. I can stay for another 15 minutes in case anyone wants to squeeze in one more, but we're just going to be a little bit over time today. Yeah, I love that. A spiritual buffet, I love that. I use that all the time. That's amazing. But yeah, very helpful, and like it's allowed to be being free, you know, a little bit more free and loose with that. Oh, I love that, Absi. Welcome, welcome. I am just pulling up. When I do use the dual screens, my internet goes so slow. So let's see here. Let's try 2024. This is what helps like the klepto part of my Scorpio, because I have everyone's chart. It may take me a second, but I can go and make sure that I will get to the right place. I'm more of a digital klepto than a physical klepto. Or hoarder is probably the more appropriate word. Okay, so let me take a look. So Tina, we're at 143, which I love that because that's the old beeper code for I love you. Yeah, I know, it's always somewhere. Yeah, obviously, I'm just doing a reading for Tina right now. So if I don't answer right away, don't take it personally. I would like to know, oh no, that's the old one. I would like to know my strengths. Let me go to the new one here. I think you said next week, if I'm not mistaken, which is crazy because we have a lot of, I feel like you're feeling a lot of the opposing energies, even though we have you at gate 50 in the second line. It is shared with Libra, which is directly opposing all of the Aries that we have right now. So, a lot of that kind of like extra, listen, I feel like a lot of what I always tell you is just an affirmation of what you know to be true. There is never a day, Tina, that I am ever truly like worried about you. Am I concerned for you? Does my heart go out to you because there's a lot of shit that's always on your lap? Absolutely. But I'm never concerned that you are an incompetent person and that you're never going to be able to like not figure shit out. It's really frustrating to be a competent person in a world where, especially when, and I'm, I always think about when you say next week or anything like that, that it has to do with maybe like, it's always something big, right? Like whenever somebody says like, what's happening next week? But I think just knowing, and I will say this because I don't know if it has to do with Nick or surgery or anything along those lines, because it was this time, I think 2 years ago, that he was having something going on. It was sometime around April or May, and there was a big surgery that he was having. And I remember I did a dual reading because that's when Morgan was with me, RIP. And we did a dual reading, and she was reading and saying something about like there's a big surgery where it was something with like blood or platelets or something like that, if my memory serves me correctly. Which is, so it's crazy to look at like the cycles of time, and like how things repeat themselves. I always know shit goes down for me in like April. Like a year ago, literally today, was when my dad went downhill and we got his diagnosis with progressive supranuclear palsy. So it's like weird that we're kind of in that same like path and trajectory. 5 blood transfusions. There you go. Yes. Oh my God. Also another weird synchronicity with that is that my uncle, my dad's brother, used to own a blood transfusion company that he bought from my great uncle, and my dad ran a cell saver, which is basically like, from my knowledge, not in that world clearly, like how they keep donated blood fresh. So yeah, just kind of like weird like synchronicities. And I think of Aries as like the planet of war and ruled by Mars, and how like blood, so much blood, whatever, that I associate with Aries season. But again, I'm never concerned about things not being okay for you. Do I think that they're challenging more than the average person? Yes, but I'm never concerned about whether or not you're going to be okay, or your family. What's incredibly infuriating about the medical system, and it's probably the only time I'll be allowed to say that without fear of this app crashing, is that you always have to be, and this is anything in life, anything that you pay for, like nothing good comes easy type thing, you have to understand that being an adult in this world in 2026 means being your own advocate for every single thing. I will say that there are a lot of things in this world that are meant to be incredibly confusing, so you give up and you stop trying because it's convenient for you to not be somebody that's the squeaky wheel, and does give up and does succumb and just listens to what you're told. And that's how I feel like next week will be for you. That's how I feel like the month of April and into May is for most people. If you are not a person that is educated, and listen, with most of the things that you've been through in your life, Tina, like you didn't plan to become educated about anything like that, but you learned how to educate yourself because you had to be. Hold on, it's going to be distracting. Like, get the fuck out of here. Sorry. This is my internal monologue coming to real life. Like, shut the fuck up and let me read for Tina. Get out of my way. But, Aries season is literally about shit like this. Like, what's getting in my way, right? Like, stop tagging Delynn. Leave her alone. No one knows who you are. Get out. Are you relevant to the conversation? Like, what is relevant to what is actually needed for what you need next week? Like, who are the people that, like, there are people in life, and this is like my Aquarian detachment talking, that just happen to be NPCs in your life? Like, who are the people that aren't meant to play a bigger role? Not to say that anyone is more important than each other. Exactly. Like, But I feel like that with you, Tina. It's literally just like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, can you just give me what we need and can we cut to the point? No, it's just some bot spammer. There's a bunch of people that pop in, especially now that the app has changed hands. There's a lot of like fake bots that will just tag in, more bullshit that just is like meant to cause discourse and frustration on the internet. Here we are. But yeah, a lot of what I feel that just helpful affirmation of what we're all going to be feeling like or going through, Tina, is just like, know that the annoying energy is not going away, but that you know that it's coming. So when you know that it's coming, because you smell that shit from a mile away, you say, okay, if I'm going into, say, this new conversation about Nick with a new doctor, or whatever the case may be, I got his binder, the pages are laminated, everything's in order, and I'll straight, especially with my dad, like if it's somebody that comes at me sideways, I'm like, I don't, like, congratulations on spending 8 years in a different school than I did, but I have on the ground training about very specific, hi Bren, thank you, very specific elements of his situation. Like, read the first page and then we'll start talking. I'll sit here and wait while you read the first page of the binder. It's like, I was talking about this yesterday because someone asked, like, when's the last time that I got, like, angry or frustrated, and the first thing that I could think about was that I called the Chinese food restaurant to order Chinese food when my niece was here, and she wanted plain noodles. So, like, I don't know. Chow mein and lo mein, the only difference that I know is that chow mein is fried, I think, like, thinner noodles, and lo mein is bigger, like, one or the other. Like, I've never worked at a Chinese food restaurant in my life. I don't make noodles at home. Like, I don't buy chow mein or lo mein. Like, I don't know. So I call, and this girl answers, and I was like, started putting in my niece's order, like, can I get, like, plain chow mein noodles, like, no added, like, vegetables, or, chicken, or whatever, and, like, the person on the phone was like, my guess is that it was, like, some young kid that was, like, off for Easter break, like, working at their parents', like, restaurant, and, I was like, oh, like, they were like, oh, well, we don't have that. Basically, the conversation, like, ended being, like, they were making me feel stupid, and I was like, is chow mein not noodles? Like, did this suddenly change? And, like, I feel like I'm being gaslit right now that, like, I'm being told these noodles aren't noodles. And I literally, because my 6-year-old niece is in the car, so I'm not going to get, like, and this is a Chinese food restaurant we're talking about, but I'm like, this is the frustration that we all feel, where it's like, why am I being put in a position where I'm about to get into a fucking argument with somebody that I just want to order Chinese food from? And as a person who has the confidence that has worked, the guy that you call, like, the traditional things, like, at the Chinese food restaurant, that it's like, if I ask for plain noodles and I'm asking for lo mein instead, or I asked for chow mein, but I said plain noodles and the only noodles is lo mein, take an educated guess, and, like, it's probably lo mein that I'm asking for. And I was just like, you know what, like, forget it. Like, I said to the girl, I was like, I don't know the difference, like, I'm sorry. Like, I literally started laughing. I was like, you work here, I don't, like, I truly don't know. Like, I'm just regurgitating, or repeating, I should say, what my niece is asking. And the reason I say that is because that's the type of energy that it feels like for you, Tina. Like, it's going to be those stupid questions where, like, now that you know, you end up in jail. If you haven't by now, I don't think you ever will. I think there have been much bigger things that have probably happened in your life, 10 years ago, that if you didn't end up in jail there, you're not going to. But like, it's those little stupid things that happen. I would say, like, with Aries season, because Aries also is, like, there's a lot of, like, rolling cars and, like, local travel, short trips. Just, like, plan for more time than you think that you need. And, excuse me, if there's a route that you can take that's more calm, even if it takes, 15 extra minutes to get there, take the route in the woods where, like, where you're going, sort of thing. I don't think you'll be in jail or anything like that. I think that it's just, like, life is, for whatever reason, has put you through a series of challenges where there's, like, perpetual incompetence around you that, for whatever reason, you cannot circumnavigate. But, it does happen to all of us. I do, to validate your feelings, I do feel like it happens to you more than the average person. Definitely more than it happens to me. So, but I think as long as you know where you're going, even if it's something new that you're not entirely prepared for, like I said, full circle, it's just me giving you the confidence and, like, you best. and you know how to, I don't know if you've ever seen Mob Wives, but a lot of your energy, if I had to pinpoint somebody that you remind me of, it's Drita Devanzo. And she was a boxer, but she was always fighting. She was always getting into fights with somebody. And you remind me of her in terms of, like, she's very tough, but, like, it's like the exterior has to be tough because people always try her. She's an Aquarius, too. I mean, I know you're not an Aquarius, but she's an Aquarius, so it's very Aquarian, where it's like, what is the Muhammad Ali? It's like you're always on your toes or the balls of your feet. Like, you know, even allow people to surprise you, but like in being better than you anticipated. But that doesn't, allowing people to surprise you with their kindness doesn't mean that your guard has to be down. It's just that, like, there's a way that you have to kind of play people who are in those positions, like the medical field and things like that, where, and I remember an old boss telling me this, like, if you let certain people know that you think that they're stupid and they're lazy, because a lot of people are, then you give them no incentive to try to change your mind. Because it's much harder for them to try to change your mind by doing the right thing. Hi, Roses. And a lot of people don't want to do that, especially now. The reason that it's so miserable in so many places is because no one gives a fuck about anything anymore, because they feel like there's nothing worth trying for, you know, in a lot of places. Like, there's a lot of, like, especially with, like, my younger kids, I say that, like, you know, come to me for different things, like, it's like cringe to put in effort, and that also comes with, like, fear of being filmed, like, all those kinds of things. And I know I'm going, you know, over, but, like, this just feels like it's important notes for everybody, you know. Thank you, Dylan. But I know it is exhausting, and it's exhausting in varying different arenas for many different reasons for you, because of, like, having different circumstances than the average person. But, you know, it's like being prepared for the stupid to come your way, and then you're never really surprised. No, these are prosthetic eyes, actually. But yeah, I would just, a matter of, like, really taking your time to think about what are the, like, what's your, I said this the other day, like, the FAQ, like, I like that FAQ is also spelled like fuck, like, I have a different variation of fuck, because it's like, why the fuck are you asking me this? Because sometimes it feels that way, where it's like, okay, what are the, for you as Tina, what is the frequently asked bullshit that comes your way, that you can kind of prepare for? Because, and then it's like when other things are outliers, again, you're always, that's a way for you to always be on your toes. But, like, I'm always happy when, like, I go in and, like, I've misjudged. It actually just happened to me, which rarely happens, but when I first went in to drop off my application for the wildlife, bottle feeding, like, the little baby squirrels, or syringe feeding them, I did not like the energy of the people who are there. I was like, okay, I need to get out of the house. Like, I want to do something that has to do with animals. Like, I just feel that call to, like, do something else. Like, you know, I do go outside of my house, but I just wanted to, like, do something different. I was feeling that itch to, like, balance my life. And I filled out my application, and it was like no one could barely, like, make eye contact with me. And I was like, okay, interesting. But I was like, you know, okay, devil's advocate, like, maybe they just had to put an animal down, and they're not going to be like, hey, come apply to volunteering. Like, this is where animals go die. Like, you know, like, they're not going to, like, market it like that. So I was like, all right, I'll put in my application. I'll at least go one time, you know, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is for the animals, like, the animals I can't have, like, these are people, like, you know, maybe this is just the state of the world. Like, I just need to, like, kind of get, like, more of a taste for, like, interaction and multiple different reasons. And, you know, I went back for my first shift, and it was like night and day. So I was like, okay, I'm glad that, yeah, maybe that at that moment people were having a bad day, but I'm so grateful that I actually did give them a chance to, like, redeem themselves by going back and realizing that it was just, like, a bad moment, and not being so quick to judge. Like, will there be times like that, and are people difficult in different places everywhere? Yes, right? Because, like, we go to therapy, we get readings for the people who don't want to be self-aware, don't want to put in effort. So, you know, it's more of, if I had to give you another creative description, it's not going into every situation with your gloves on, but your gloves are packed in the bag that's on your shoulder should you need them. And if you don't go into situations with your gloves on, but you still feel prepared, it's a way for you to energetically protect yourself while also allowing people, always ready, and then allowing people to, you know, like all of us, if we all feel the same way, right? If we're all saying like there's 22 of us here right now. If we all feel the same way, that has to mean that there's other people like us also outside of the internet that haven't been given an opportunity to find each other in real life. So I'm like, it's finding that balance. But, thank you for letting me use you as a springboard for more of the, the conversation. But yeah, you're definitely somebody that like, I don't have to worry about you. And that sounds like I feel like I'm putting you into the category of like my, like if the glass child, like you're the one I never have to worry about. You're like, gee, thanks, because like I'm fucking suffering. Like it's like, yeah, great, no one has to worry about me. But it's yeah, you're not crazy for going out into the world and being perpetually surprised as to why things aren't going the way they should, or why people don't do the things that they should do. And I don't know if it's that. I mean, my philosophy, like how I feel about life right now, is it's not like there are more crazy things in the world happening per se. I think they're just happening at a faster volume. So does that mean there's more happening? Yes, but it's also because we're so connected all the time that like we hear about more in other corners of the world. Like I think back to my grandparents, and my grandfather was drafted into World War II, and none of them had the internet to know that exactly what was happening. Now, and regardless, even if they knew, could my poor coal mining grandparents that were here, my grandmother and her family, really do anything about it even if they knew? And that's where we're in this kind of like weird middle ground of like, we know that all these things are happening, but there's only so much that we can do. And then there's kind of like this metaphorical magnifying glass for those of us who are on the internet and who always, if you put yourself out in a position like I am, right, where I'm more visible and like I have a voice and I like make an effort to like I make myself known in some capacity, there's a lot of people in a lot of places in the world, and I get it more on YouTube than I do on TikTok, really, because of just the nature of the platforms, where it's like you're sitting there and look like you're doing well for yourself. Like, why aren't you trading your peace for somebody else's suffering to help somebody who's suffering more? And I'm like, if only you knew how much suffering I dealt with or deal with in some capacity. Like, it's like, just because we wear well doesn't mean it isn't heavy. And I also don't make any apologies for not being in a place. Like, what am I going to do? I don't have any education or learn on the ground training when it comes to government or politics. I am simply somebody else who keeps myself as educated as possible, but also knows that like I'm going to die one day. I'm 30, for all I know, I could be halfway through my life. Hopefully I live longer, but it's like, we're also allowed to experience joy even when other people aren't going through the best circumstances, because there's only so much that we can do in our corner of the world. And I know that's kind of like a controversial thing to say, but like, I don't, like, what's the alternative? Like performative activism. You want me to post another square on my Instagram like 10 years ago when I was in college and that was the thing to do, instead of actually helping people when the circumstances presented themselves and not being a bystander IRL? Like I'll prepare myself and have my gloves ready for when the moments happen where I can like be an active participant, not on edge, thinking that something is going to happen and then it never comes my way because it wasn't my moment. So like those are the things that I think about. But there's only so many spoons, even in for people that don't have like the spoon theory, is like we only have so many spoons for the day. And usually it's used for people with chronic illness, but it's also true for us right now, where it's like we're learning how to deal with information overload and to have access to researching a lot of different things, but also being at a time where people feel incredibly defeated by the information overload. And also still, in the case of Nick and his surgery, thank you so much, and his surgeries and everything that goes, like if you've ever had the displeasure of being involved in, the medical fields in one way or another, that like there's a lot of ego there. If you're dealing with a surgeon and what's wrong intuitively as an individual, there is a certain cadence and way that you have to communicate to make people in that position, in those positions of power, believe that they came up with the idea for what you have going on. If you're a level of educated in that way. So like, I just say to dot your I's, cross your T's, The biggest thing I think that people can do for themselves is educate themselves in anything. Oh, there you go. Yes, Delin, absolutely. Like, where do you need to educate yourself? Everything, it's Marie Forleo's book, and I love this phrase, but it's everything is figure outable. It's like you have to, like, people again are largely unimpressive. It's just like who has the confidence or the gall to like put themselves out there, right? So it's like, yeah, we're all capable of taking up space in our own way, and there's room for everybody. But it's like, where do you know that you shouldn't have to educate yourself in a certain area to educate a doctor on things that they should be educated about? But it's like, that's what you just have to know, that that's a part of the system. And I'm not saying that it's right, but it's kind of like know the rules so you can break them, maybe, or like just know the rules so you know how to play the game better. And I think that's like just an important, that can be applicable in many different areas of life. Hi, Chelsea. Know the rules so you know how to apply them, you know, where they may be. So I'll be thinking of you, Tina. Thank you again for letting me use you as to riff off of, but important. And it's interesting, and egos are also used to cover up a lack of confidence and security. You're welcome. Security in some way. Like, you know, the best way I could describe it is like people being caught with their pants down. There's a lot of people who have undefined ajnas in human design. So statistically, 70% of the population is predisposed to not react confidently when they are asked a question that they don't know the answer to. It takes a certain amount of a confident, qualified person to say, like, I don't know, but I'll figure that out for you. And most people are predisposed that way. And it's like, because it's a fear, like, oh my God, I don't know everything. Like, I don't know anything, or I don't know everything about the subject I'm supposed to know. And it's much more, like, there's a lot more humility and, like, gracefulness that comes with somebody who says, like, I don't know, but I know where to find out, or I know where we can start to look and work on this together. Like, thinking about how that's a person I would rather be around, you know, than somebody who's not that way. And I have a completely undefined ajna. So I remember, like, having people, like, bosses or things, like, in my early 20s and late teens when I was, like, working retail, that would, like, ask me a question. And there are people who will also manipulate that, right? Like, I've had both ends of the spectrum. People who were asking and I was insecure because I didn't know an answer, and I was like, oh, I don't know. You know, like, I would get upset about it, or they would ask, and they would ask because they're like, oh, well, you should really know that. You know, like, they were looking to make a mountain out of a molehill. But discerning those two types of people is also important too. Because they're not, you know, is there a lot of assholes out there? Yes, but not everybody's an asshole. If you meet more than one asshole a day, right? But it's also like, if we see the world through that lens, it's like when you see a red car because you really want a red car, and then the red car shows up everywhere, that doesn't just work for positive attributes, it also works for negative ones too. So it's like, okay, if I feel like I've been there's too much assholery around me, how do I go inward and say, okay, I know that I need to detach and, like, spend some alone time. I know that, like, if I truly feel like people fatigue. So it's like, if I'm out a lot and I haven't had enough alone time, like, I become the insufferable one. So, like, I learned, like, really the last, like, 7 years that, like, okay, my introvertedness is not a problem. But yeah, exactly. Quality care, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, oh my God, 15 surgeries a day. The only real experience that I have knowing any surgeons of any kind, or because one of the artists that I used to manage was a cardiac surgical technician, which is basically like assistant to heart surgery. And I was helping him with a project that was in this building in a suburb of New Jersey. That was like a high-end, high-rise apartment building. And, you know, he was having a hard time handling the egos of the surgeons that, you know, were in those positions. So, you know, you see it a lot, but there are archetypes of those types of people in every place you go. I remember working for a salon for like a short stint of time for like a little like temp position. And the woman that I worked next to was like the manager or like the salon manager. And she was like second in command to the owner, who was like this like little Russian lady that like, you know, everyone had to be afraid of her, was like her mindset to respect her because she was tiny. So it was like total Napoleon complex and, you know, whatever. And I remember like just being like embarrassed that this like woman that had like, you know, was like upper middle age, like in this position, like taking her job so seriously because that's all she really had to, like, it was like her identity was her job. And, you know, different things that we pick up along the way. Again, like no job is ever lost on you, no matter how long or short you stay there. Like looking at her and being like, oh my gosh, like I never want to be like that, where the only thing I use to identify myself is my work. Because like I can leave here and be completely okay. If you leave here, you're not going to be okay. And like there's a lot I could say about like the sociology, anthropology, if you will, behind that. But like, you know, those are the few musings or the things that I can say about like analyzing the world around me, and human design being one of the major tools that I use to analyze life and astrology too. And, you know, there's a lot of people like that as well. It is. I have a little bit, I'm by genetics, a little Eastern European Russian, but, you know, it's like a time and a place, but it's more so embarrassing when it's like contrived. Like when you're, and you know, as a projector, Bren, like you can see through it all. So it's like everything is made up. Like I cannot take this seriously because like we're talking about cutting hair and massages. Like, you know, why is everyone, hi Lampa, why is everybody walking around scared? Like isn't this supposed to be relaxing? Like you think that people can't tell when the people that own this place are not relaxed? Like, and it's a difference between taking things seriously in a good way and taking yourself so seriously that it's like we have to create this like you better respect me, like gritting teeth kind of way of being. So I don't know, we shall see. But I am going to reheat my coffee. I have a PowerPoint to go over for my class tomorrow that I'm teaching, the Astrology of Human Design. It was nice to spend time with you guys here this afternoon in Patreon. I'm going to post a poll for you guys, but you guys also let me know here that are usually on live. I was thinking about going live on Tuesday nights instead of Saturday afternoons. So I know, Leba, I don't know why it was so glitchy today. But I think it's just the platform that I'm using to dual stream. Monday, I should be back to normal. Thank you, Conga Knight. But yeah, so I will send you guys that booked readings with me today. Delyn, Tina, Sony, Tony. I will send you the recording before the night is over. Yeah, I'll send it before the night is over. It's afternoon for me. I'm going to go make my husband some lunch because he's been working outside all day. So I know he is hungry. I'm feeling my time for my little afternoon siesta. But yeah, it was nice to chat with you guys. Thank you for being here.